Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Starcraft for All, My Base Fusion Zerg Core. Chapter 21. With micro-controllable nuclear fusion technology as the foundation and massive computing power as support, it took less than 28 hours to research nuclear weapons. Nuclear warheads do not need to constrain energy and eliminate quantity restrictions, as long as there are enough isotopes to carry out the reaction. The difficulty of research is when to react, how to detonate, and how to control the intensity and range of the explosion. The results of these problems have been obtained after a complete calculation. Nuclear bombs made by nuclear fission are called atomic bombs. The nuclear bomb made by nuclear fusion is called a hydrogen bomb. This time, due to hasty research, the hydrogen bomb was divided into two stages by a simple and rough explosion. The first stage is an ordinary yield hydrogen bomb with an effective killing radius of 500 kilometers and a destruction radius of 50 kilometers. Divided according to the level of civilization, it is equivalent to the peak state of level 1, but is still a little short of level 2 civilization. Calculated based on the power rating of the Zerg, it is almost between level 17 and 18. The second stage high-yield hydrogen bomb has an effective killing radius of 1,000 kilometers and a destruction radius of more than 100 kilometers. In terms of attack power, it has reached the level of a second-level civilization, and can even cause damage to creatures of a second-level civilization. Theoretically, there is no upper limit to the power of nuclear weapons detonated by nuclear fusion, such as hydrogen bombs. After the Scientific Research Institute developed the two-stage hydrogen bomb, it continued to study super large-scale hydrogen bombs. In an ideal state, it can reach a radius of tens of thousands of kilometers, and its power can even reach the peak of a second-level civilization. If such a hydrogen bomb can be developed, then Zhou Quan will have a certain ability to protect himself on this planet. Normal-yield hydrogen bombs and large-yield hydrogen bombs, 10 each, will be produced. Start making an ordinary equivalent hydrogen bomb, consuming 1,000 larvae and 100,000 energy, which takes 30 minutes. Close black lens bracket. Start making a high-yield hydrogen bomb, consuming 5,000 larvae and 500,000 energy, which takes 30 minutes. Close black lens bracket. Consumption is surprisingly low. Because it is an explosive reaction triggered by nuclear fusion, it does not require much energy itself. Only a small part of the energy is converted into the materials required for the reaction through the material energy converter. Most of the energy is essentially used in the transformation of biodynamic systems and shell materials. There is no need for missiles to carry nuclear warheads, and there is no need for aircraft to deliver nuclear warheads. The nuclear warheads produced at the base all have their own biodynamic systems. The two arsenals started working at the same time, and 30 minutes later, 10 hydrogen bombs of each level were placed neatly on the base. At this time Zhou Quan was full of confidence. With a thought, and under the calculation of the core, an ordinary yield hydrogen bomb was launched into the sky. The biodynamic system ejected light blue flames, pushing the hydrogen bomb across the sky and flying towards the place where the big bison was. This hydrogen bomb has a killing radius of 500 kilometers and a destruction radius of 50 kilometers. At this time, the big bison was about 500 kilometers away from the base. The core quickly calculated the optimal location for the explosion. The hydrogen bomb flew over the head of the big bison with a blue flame and flew another 30 kilometers. Detonated at a distance of 530 kilometers from the base and at a height of 50 meters above the ground. A huge mushroom cloud rose into the sky, an energy wave swept across the world with the power to destroy everything. The big bison was engulfed by the terrifying energy wave almost at the moment of the explosion. The moisture in the air is evaporated in an instant, and the temperature rises sharply. The entire island was shaken, and a terrifying heat wave rolled in. Zhou Quan stared closely at the screen, while the core was collecting data and verifying the calculation results. The explosion's destruction radius is 49.3 kilometers, and its killing radius is 499 kilometers. Close black lens bracket. The maximum temperature at the center of the explosion rose to 100 million degrees. Close black lens bracket. The terrifying destructive power, the power of the hydrogen bomb, is quite amazing. It can be seen from satellite images that a large number of beasts died in the hydrogen bomb explosion. Only the beasts on the periphery are still alive. Basically, all the beasts within a radius of 300 kilometers from the center of the explosion were wiped out, leaving no one left. Only some of the beasts 300 kilometers away survived. When the smoke cleared, the scene at the center of the explosion was revealed. The land was flattened, the ancient trees disappeared, and there was no life at all. The big bison fell to the ground, its huge body riddled with holes and dead. Although it lives on nuclear energy, it can evolve by absorbing nuclear energy. But the nuclear energy of an explosion is completely different from the nuclear energy produced during a reaction. Exploding nuclear energy has terrifying destructive power. Destroyed its life. The buffalo is timid and cautious, and drives large numbers of wild animals to attack it. As a result, he was forced to change his plan and start researching nuclear weapons. The end result is one's own death, and it's hard to tell what's right or wrong. Zhou Quan said to himself, if you had taken action directly from the beginning, maybe I would have died. But everything is settled. Just a hydrogen bomb of ordinary yield directly changed the situation of the war. The remaining beasts were nothing to worry about. Without the big bison, they would soon disperse. The defensive fort did not stop attacking because of this, and still bombarded and killed the beasts that entered the range. At this time, the fixed-form heavy gunner changed back to his mobile form, and went out together with the swordsman fighter to clean up the battlefield. A huge amount of energy was expended for this battle. These beast carcasses can make up for it a little. And Zhou Quan knew that the trouble would begin next. The explosion of the hydrogen bomb must have attracted the attention of the secondary creatures. It is estimated that it won't be long before the second-level creatures are coming to your door. The beasts that were still alive finally retreated, and the soldiers brought back a large number of beast corpses and converted them into energy. At the beginning of the war, the base originally had more than 9 million energy, but now it has less than 2 million. Among them, 5 million was used to build the defensive fort. After the battle started, more than 2 million were used to continuously replenish the energy of the fort. War is about resources, and for Zhou Quan, energy is resources. War is about energy, just as Zhou Quan expected. Just 3 hours after the nuclear bomb was detonated, a huge creature flew out of the ocean and flew towards the base. At this time, Zhou Quan was also ready. Be prepared to lose everything. Just 2 hours ago, 10 self-launching satellites took off, carrying larvae, a biological computing system composed of 100 biological neuron chips, and 10 microscopic controllable nuclear fusion devices. One of the self-launching satellites is particularly large, and the base above is already unfolding, using the satellite as a base. After the base is expanded, it can have a wormhole and can teleport between bases. This is the escape route Zhou Quan has prepared for himself. The core is also ready to be transferred at any time. The only trouble is that the material to energy converter cannot be taken away. Without the material energy converter, the development speed will definitely slow down significantly. But there is nothing we can do about it. 10 high-yield nuclear bombs floated outside the base, and the biodynamic force underneath was continuously emitting faint blue flames, holding up the nuclear bombs. Here comes the white whale, the one who killed the green tiger. It had discovered Zhou Quan's base last time, but Zhou Quan was too weak and had almost no energy fluctuations. It ignored the weak Zhou Quan at all. This time he sensed the energy wave of the nuclear bomb explosion, so he rushed over to take a look. The beautiful white whale was in midair, looking at the nuclear warheads surrounding the base. It was a little curious. These nuclear warheads emitted nuclear energy fluctuations and looked like something they could swallow in one bite, but they gave it a sense of danger. Instinct tells it that these things will kill him. Living things trust their own instincts. Therefore, the white whale did not attack immediately. At this time, a missile suddenly flew towards the northwest corner of the island. The biodynamic system works with all its strength and explodes with amazing thrust. The speed is getting faster and faster, reaching a speed of 2,000 kilometers per hour in just 10 seconds. And the speed is increasing. 1 minute later, the speed reached 10,000 kilometers per hour. The nuclear bomb flew nearly 3,000 kilometers, reached the other end of the island, and then exploded. A large-yield hydrogen bomb has a destruction radius of 100 kilometers and a killing radius of 1,000 kilometers. The attack power is enough to cause damage to, or even kill, creatures of the second-level civilization. Beluga witnessed the explosion with his own eyes, and his eyes suddenly shrank. It can feel that the energy contained in this explosion has a chance to kill itself. And it is different from the battles of other second-level creatures. Although they have the strength of a second-level civilization, they also use nuclear fusion as energy. But they all knew it but didn't know why, and the power they exerted was far inferior to this nuclear explosion. Beluga took a deep look at the base where Zhou Quan was located, and then at the 9 high-yield hydrogen bombs still floating around. It doesn't know what this kind of base represents, but it knows that if these nuclear bombs explode, it will die. Finally, it roared low and retreated with a hint of unwillingness. After flying hundreds of kilometers, it plunged into the ocean and disappeared. Zhou Quan breathed a long sigh of relief. He didn't say a word during the whole process, but showed his force with actions. He believed that as a creature from a second-level civilization, its intelligence would certainly not be much lower. You must be able to understand what you mean. Yes, a happy ending for everyone. Next, we can safely use nuclear energy. Create microscopic controllable nuclear energy devices to replenish energy for the base. Start manufacturing microscopic controllable nuclear energy equipment, consuming 10 larvae, 1000 energy, and takes 10 minutes. Close black lens bracket. A microscopic controllable nuclear energy device can provide 10 million energy to the base in 1000 seconds through nuclear fusion. With 10 controllable nuclear energy devices, the base can be upgraded. When you have energy, base upgrades will no longer be a problem. Now Zhou Quan can use nuclear energy boldly and safely. The white whale retreats, and there will be no second-level creatures that don't have a long eye to trouble him for the time being. Improve the base level, explode a large number of troops, and use energy feedback to improve yourself. Improve science and technology and develop civilization. Zhou Quan is thinking about the next development. At this time, the soldiers have returned. With nuclear energy, there is no need to collect resources. This backward approach can be abandoned. Level 2 civilization, here I come. The starry sky of the universe, here I come. Microscopically controllable nuclear energy devices are constantly being manufactured. The base is getting more and more energy. 1000 microscopic controllable nuclear energy devices provide energy to the base at the same time. 10 million energy per second. 1000 seconds later, the base's energy reserve has reached 10 billion. Looking at the soaring energy values, Zhou Quan was already happy. There is 1 round for every 1000 nuclear energy devices, 3 rounds in a row. The energy of the base has reached 30 billion. At this time Zhou Quan kept coming in disbelief. The larvae are gone. It takes time to recover. For a base, the daily maximum production of larvae is 100,000, and it will take time to recover after it is used up. There is no way around this. To improve larva statistics, you can only increase the number of bases. Upgrade, upgrade, upgrade. At Zhou Quan's command site, the base was upgraded 3 levels in a row, from level 6 to level 9. Open black lens bracket mechanical biology base close black lens bracket. Base level, level 9. Civilization level, level 1. Has energy, 18.9 billion. Possess larva, 100,000. Automatically produce larva every day, 100,000. Has core facilities. Material energy converter. Close black lens bracket. Base upgrade requirements. 100 billion energy. Looking at the demand for the next level, 100 billion energy is simply impossible to achieve if we still use the collection method. Without nuclear energy, how could this base be upgraded to level 10? Master, the base can hatch earth-boring insects after level 7. The earth-boring insects can absorb the energy from the core of the planet. Although it is not as good as nuclear energy, it can still obtain enough energy. Close black lens bracket. After the base is level 9, it can also hatch star-collecting bugs, which can collect energy from stars. On a planet with sufficient star energy, sufficient energy can also be obtained. Close black lens bracket. Furthermore, after level 15, the Zerg will also evolve a nuclear energy utilization device. Close black lens bracket. Although the route taken by mechanical civilization is different, in the end they reach the same goal through different paths. Close black lens bracket. Listening to Core's explanation, Zhou Quan nodded. Nuclear energy is more of the energy for the development of mechanical technology. As an advanced biological civilization, how could the Zerg not have corresponding upgrade methods? The road is just different, but the destination is the same. 100 billion energy requires 10,000 microscopically detectable nuclear fusion devices and 100,000 larvae for hatching. 100,000 larvae is exactly the production capacity of the base for one day. Now Zhou Quan can only wait and wait for one day. As for the Zerg's own ground-boring insects and hang-gathering insects, they no longer need to be hatched. At present, nuclear energy has the best effect. The Scientific Research Institute quickly developed a super-large-yield nuclear bomb. Once you have a foundation, building a house on it is easy. The yield of a super-large-scale nuclear bomb is increased by 10 times based on the large-yield hydrogen bomb. The destruction radius reaches 500 kilometers, and the effective killing radius reaches 5,000 kilometers. This power has reached the peak of the second-level civilization, and it is easy to kill the beluga, a second-level civilization creature. Ordinary hydrogen bombs were named conventional level by Zhou Quan, high-yield hydrogen bombs were named destructive level, and this super-large-yield hydrogen bomb was named hell level. Regular level, destruction level, hell level. The hydrogen bomb, which represents 3 yields and 3 powers, is also the most powerful weapon in Zhou Quan's hands. After successfully developing the hydrogen bomb, the Scientific Research Institute began to invest in the research of space battleships. It seems that one scientific research institute is no longer enough, and the scale of the biological computing cluster must continue to expand to provide more computing power. When the base is upgraded to level 10, I will leave Aquablue Star and enter the starry sky of the universe. Enter the ranks of second-level civilization and begin to truly develop. Aquamarine is the name given to this planet by Zhou Quan. This planet is 90% water, with less than 10% land area. It looks blue from the sky. Zhou Quan has already planned what he will do next. New commands are given to the neural network. The last 10 satellites launched have already flown towards the satellite closest to Aquamarine. Aquamarine 1. Aquamarine has a total of 3 satellites from near to far. Among them, Aquamarine 1 is the closest, and its size is medium among the 3 satellites. Mariner 3 is the farthest, but also the largest. Marine Moon 2 is not far or close, but it is the smallest in size. As for the quality, it has not been measured specifically. According to the plan, the satellite will accelerate to a speed of 50 km per second after leaving Aquamarine. Then after a 4-hour flight, we arrived at Aquaman-1. Spend some more time observing Waters 1 and make sure it is safe before landing. Place the new base there. The larvae hatch out bit by bit and are used to create controllable nuclear fusion equipment. Then activate and convert into base energy. Zhou Quan only needs to issue orders, and the rest of the living core will be done well without worrying at all. After a few days, Zhou Quan opened the Galaxy Chat channel again. See how others are doing. The Galaxy Chat channel is still lively, with hundreds of millions of people crowded in it. Although I could only see people nearby talking, there were at least tens of thousands of people. It only takes one part of them to speak, and it's already difficult to see. I have developed and manufactured a giant tank. It is 3 times the size of an ordinary tank and more than 10 meters high. Once the gun is fired, there will be no survivors within 100 meters. What does this mean? I'm already studying airplanes. When my fighter jets come out, your tanks will only be beaten. You are all producing military industry, why don't you develop science and technology? To develop science and technology, we have to wait until the world is at peace. I am still fighting here. How can I have the resources to develop science and technology? There was a big boss just now. The base has been upgraded to level 5. It is said that a supercomputer cluster has been set up, consisting of tens of thousands of computers. The computing power is terrifying. Quantum chips are the way to go, and ordinary computers will be eliminated sooner or later. No, I'm studying photon computers. I feel that photon computers can completely crush quantum computers. Zhou Quan looked at it silently for a while. Everyone has different ideas for development. Although the same base and the same resources were initially allocated, the later development showed thousands of changes. Some people focus on developing robots and various machine warriors. Some people still follow the old path of the Earth's army, tanks, infantry, aircraft, and artillery. There are still people on a peaceful planet who are concentrating on developing technology, such as quantum computers and photon computers. The same people, the same base, but the paths taken are so diverse. There is really no limit to thinking, and there is no limit to creation. Everyone has their own direction, and so does Zhou Quan. He once read a book, and the universe described in the book was very terrifying. The book says, "The universe is a dark forest, and every civilization is a hunter in the dark forest. They hide themselves, look for other civilizations, and take a shot at any time. The reason is that although the space of the universe is infinite, matter is limited. In order to compete for limited resources, various civilizations will carry out destructive killings. There is no peace among civilizations, only war." This is a bit biased, but there is no way to refute it. Zhou Quan neither fully believed nor disbelieved. He can only wait until he encounters other civilizations and sees with his own eyes to see what the universe is like. Time passed little by little, and after 24 hours, the energy finally reached 100 billion. The base has also completed the last upgrade on the planet. Level 10 base. Open black lens bracket mechanical biology base close black lens bracket. Base level. Level 10. Civilization level. Level 2. Has energy. 10.8 billion. Possess larva. 10,000. Automatically produce larva every day. 100,000. Has core facilities. Material energy converter. Close black lens bracket. Base upgrade requirements. 1 trillion energy. Close black lens bracket. We have finally reached level 2 civilization. Controlling nuclear fusion, having a nearly unlimited source of energy, and being able to fly freely in the star system are the hallmarks of a level 2 civilization. Hey, darling, with 1 trillion energy, if there is only one base, even if we use nuclear fusion technology, it will take 10 days. It seems that after level 10, you have to open a branch base. Finally level 10. Enable battleship form. Zhou Quan conveyed the instructions in the neural network. The base begins to deform. The defensive turret automatically disassembled and deformed, and together with the energy blanket formed the outer shell of the battleship. The central core tower became the battleship bridge. The Scientific Research Institute and Arsenal have become the internal rooms of the battleship. Their functions are still retained, but the appearance and size have changed. All the soldiers returned to the base and they became part of the battleship. The transformation lasted for a full 30 minutes, and a huge space battleship with a length of 500 meters appeared on the island. A huge blue flame was ejected from the tail, and the biodynamic system began to work at full power. The battleship took off and flew towards the sky, getting higher and higher, and disappeared after a while. Zhou Quan stood in the bridge, looking at the white clouds passing by on both sides and the blue ocean below. He was moving away from the planet. If it is a Zerg base, you can directly take off after level 10 and fly directly into the void of the universe in the form of a base. But the disadvantage is that it is very slow, and the fastest speed can only reach 10 kilometers per second. This kind of speed is considered to be extremely slow in the universe. After reaching level 10 of mechanical technology, you can create the most basic space battleship. And when the Zerg biotechnology is integrated into mechanical technology, it becomes the current space battleship. It combines the essence of biotechnology and mechanical technology. The shell looks like metal but actually has biological components. If you are damaged, you can automatically recover as long as you have energy. There are no electronic circuits inside, and it will not burst into flames or explode if attacked. Even if someone interrupts you, as long as you have energy and time, you can slowly grow back. In terms of power, relying solely on the biodynamic system, the speed can be propelled to 50 kilometers per second. Although this speed is still a turtle speed, it is not even comparable to the speed of self-launched satellites. But you must know that this is a battleship, and its weight is far greater than that of a satellite. It is already very impressive to be able to reach this speed. After 10 minutes of flying, Zhou Quan suddenly felt a lightness in his body, as if he was floating. The scene in front of me suddenly changed from blue to pitch black. Come to the universe, Zhou Quan said to himself, with a hint of excitement in his tone. It is the dream of many men to enter the outer space. Start the gravity system and check whether the life support system is normal. The gravity system started successfully. Close black lens bracket. All systems are normal. Close black lens bracket. Zhou Quan felt the familiar gravity again and took a few steps back and forth, which was no different from how he was on land. It will be called the base number from now on. Open black lens bracket. Follow your orders. Close black lens bracket. The spacecraft is still accelerating. After getting rid of the gravity of Aquamarine, it will accelerate to 50 km per second in the next 10 minutes and go straight to Aquamarine. 10 satellites have arrived at Aquamarine and sent back images of Aquamarine at the same time. This is a desolate planet. The whole planet is full of sand and dust. Other than that, nothing has been discovered yet. But what Zhou Quan wants is nothing. Desolation means that there is no interference and just enough time for development. Zhou Quan was thoughtful while browsing the images sent back by the satellite. After level 15, can you survive in the universe with your physical body? Yes, Master, as long as you can reach level 15, you can survive in the universe. Close black lens bracket. If you can reach level 20, you can evolve into a second-level civilization creature, and you can travel freely within the star system. Close black lens bracket. The first-level civilization is a planet-level civilization, and the second-level civilization is a star system-level civilization. It is normal for a secondary civilization to rule the entire star system. Even more powerful second-level civilizations, with their technology developed to the top, can transform various planets in the star system. Become an environment suitable for your own survival. Of course, the exception is the second-level civilized creature in a single body. For example, there are many creatures in Aqua Blue Star that have reached the second level of civilization. But they are single, they have power but they don't know how to develop and utilize the power in their hands. From Mercury Blue to Aquamarine, the distance is 720,000 kilometers. At the base's speed of 50 kilometers per second, it will take 4 hours to arrive. How is the Research Institute's research on space battleships going? Some results have been achieved. With the help of microscopic controllable nuclear fusion technology, the research on the power part has been completed. Close black lens bracket. We are currently simulating and calculating the weapon system, and whether to use biological weapons or mechanical weapons is being verified. Close black lens bracket. Then can the nuclear power system be installed on the base? It's absolutely possible, but the transformation needs to be done with the base's power system turned off. Close black lens bracket. Zhou Quan said he understood. Let's start the transformation after getting rid of the gravity of Aquamarine. After the transformation is completed, we will go to Aquamarine. Open black lens bracket. Follow your orders. Close black lens bracket. Zhou Quan wants to try out how fast the modified base number can be. With the efficiency of the Zerg, the transformation will not take too long and should be completed within an hour. If a new nuclear power system is used during the introduction, perhaps the base will arrive at Aquamarine earlier than expected. After 30 minutes of navigation, the base finally got rid of the gravity of Aquamarine and truly entered space. The base calculated the fastest route and flew towards Mimas. The biodynamic system was shut down, and the base continued to fly ahead of the inertia. Start transforming the power system of the base. Close black lens bracket. It is estimated to take 42 minutes and 39 seconds. Sure enough, it was about the same as Zhou Quan estimated, taking less than an hour. A total of 10,000 larvae got into the biopower system and began to hatch into a nuclear power propulsion system. In 42 minutes and 39 seconds, not a second more nor a second less, the transformation was completed. The power system of the base has been modified. Close black lens bracket. According to calculations, the base number can currently reach the fastest speed, 500 kilometers per second. Close black lens bracket. The level is improved, the power system is improved, and there is still room for further improvement. Close black lens bracket. Zhou Quan is very satisfied with this renovation. The speed is directly increased by 10 times. At this time, he is still 550,000 kilometers away from Hydromare, and it only takes 18 minutes to arrive. Time is greatly reduced. Let's go, Aquaman, with high-spirited shouts. The base accelerated violently and rushed towards Aquamarine, leaving Aquamarine far behind in the blink of an eye. 18 minutes later, the base arrived at Aquamarine. At this time, a base has appeared on Aquamarine. Connected to the base through the wormhole, sharing energy and technology. The newly established sub-base is only level 1. But now it is not as short of energy as it was on Aqua Blue Star. After just a few minutes, the sub-base was upgraded to level 4. The sub-base does not need to be of a high level, and its technological data is interconnected with the main base. Even level 1 can meet all needs. Upgrading to level 4 is also for larvae. A level 4 base can produce 100,000 larvae every day, reaching the highest production capacity. With Zhou Quan's thought, the larvae in the sub-bases took action and built 9 sub-bases at the same time. The incubation of the branch base will take some time, but Zhou Quan is not in a hurry. The base did not land on Aqua, but stopped on the diversion path of Aqua. Taking advantage of the incubation time at the branch base, he informed the core of the next plan and discussed it with the core. The core is not an intelligent brain that only knows how to listen to orders, it can think and make reasonable suggestions. The first step is to develop a brand new space battleship. Future development must be based on the universe. The importance of space battleships is self-evident. The space battleship must integrate mechanical technology and Zerg biotechnology, and try to be the strongest among civilizations of the same level. The second step is to research and develop weapons systems suitable for space warfare. Although the current nuclear bombs are powerful, their speed is too slow. On the scale of the universe, it is about the same as a snail. In addition to nuclear bombs, conventional weapons systems are also needed. For example, as far as I know, electromagnetic guns, conventional missiles, kinetic energy weapons, micronuclear bombs and the like. The second step can be started in parallel with the first step, but with a slightly lower priority. The third step is to start detonating troops based on the above research. This is the advantage of the Zerg. Even after integrating with mechanical technology, this advantage still exists. At the same level, explosive soldiers can be crushed, there is no doubt about it. After completing the first 3 steps, we can continue to improve our technological level and try to move towards a third-level civilization. Zhou Quan talked about his thoughts, recorded them in his core, and calculated the approximate time required. There is no doubt that Zhou Quan is already ahead of most participants. After calculation, it may take a long time to achieve this. Close black lens bracket. It's okay. With Zerg technology, I have saved countless time. While others are still playing tricks of unifying the planet, I have already reached into the universe. By the time they enter the universe, I may have left the endless galaxy. This is how the game is fun to play. You are always many steps ahead of others, so that others cannot even catch up. Zhou Quan is full of confidence. This time, he successfully developed nuclear fusion energy, developed the hydrogen bomb, and entered the second-level civilization in one fell swoop. This has made him many steps ahead of others. Zhou Quan is confident that in the coming time, the gap will not narrow, but will only widen. 6 hours later, 10 sub-bases were completed and upgraded to level 4 at the same time. Each of the sub-bases is 400 meters apart, and the energy blanket is connected into one. Build an arsenal. The command was issued from the neural network, and 10 sub-bases were activated at the same time. The larvae swarmed out, and 100 arsenals began to be constructed at the same time. At the same time, mass production of biological neuron chips began in the base. He has left Aquamarine and arrived at Aquamarine. Facing the vast starry sky of the universe, we no longer need to be timid, but should truly develop with all our strength. There is sufficient energy and computing power is immediately on the table. According to Zhou Quan's vision, and subsequent repeated verification by the core intelligence brain, if these plans are to be realized in a short time, at least tens of millions of biological computing clusters will be needed to support them. Relying solely on the current total of 6,000 biocomputing clusters is completely insufficient. That would drag on for a very long time. 10 million level biocomputing clusters are a very appropriate number. If there are more, the computing power may continue to increase, but the utilization rate will decrease and the efficiency will not increase much. 10 million is the optimal number that the core has obtained after repeated verification. With enough energy and enough computing power, the first step in Zhou Quan's vision is to prevent the process of researching space battleships from slowing down. Of course, the speed of getting results is different between being able to do 1 test per minute and being able to do 100 tests per minute. The 100,000 larvae produced by the base every day are all used to make biological neuron chips and added to biological computing clusters. Even so, it will still take some time to form a tens of million level biological computing cluster. But now Zhou Quan has no shortage of time. While expanding the scale of the biological computing cluster, 9 more scientific research institutes were built in the base. There are a total of 10 scientific research institutes to adapt to the upcoming tens of millions of biological computing clusters. However, the 9 scientific research institutes are just a start, only 1/10 of the plan. As the base is upgraded, the size of the base will become larger and larger, and the scale of the scientific research institute will continue to expand to 100. Only in this way can all computing power be effectively utilized. Zhou Quan thinks that the base is a mothership and a command ship. It will always be in the rear and will not participate in any war. All scientific research functions must be placed on the base number. Of course, the base cannot be completely without combat capability. On the contrary, the base's combat effectiveness will be very strong. As long as there are the most advanced scientific research results and the best weapons, they will definitely be supplied to the base number first. In the sub-base, 100 arsenals have been built. Produce 1,000 microscopically controllable nuclear fusion devices. Production of 1,000 nuclear-powered self-launching satellites. Start producing a microscopically controllable nuclear fusion device, consuming 1,000 larvae and 10,000 energy, which takes 10 minutes. Close black lens bracket. Start producing a nuclear-powered self-launching satellite, consuming 500,000 larvae, consuming 5 million energy, and takes 30 minutes. Close black lens bracket. In Zhou Quan's eyes, a total of 1,000 self-launching satellites equipped with nuclear power equipment were launched into space at the same time. They fly to all directions in the starry sky according to the routes calculated by the core. 1,000 satellites, the target is 100 planets, and each planet will be assigned 10 satellites. Through satellites, Zhou Quan will have first-hand information about each planet from a god's perspective. With nuclear power, the flight speed of satellites will be greatly accelerated. Under the powerful thrust of nuclear power, the satellite will continue to accelerate to a speed of 500 km per second, which is much faster than the 50 km per second of the previous biopower system. The closest target they are going to at this moment is Demosaurus, which can be reached in only 20 minutes. The farthest planet is 2.2 billion kilometers away from Hydromare and requires a full 50 days of flight. 500 kilometers per second is almost a terrifying number inside the planet. But in the starry sky, looking at the distance scale between planets, this is only an extremely slow speed. The distance between planets is too far, ranging from dozens to tens of billions of kilometers. This is only the distance between planets within the star system. If it involves the distance outside the star system, it is the distance between galaxies. If expressed in kilometers, it would be an astronomical figure. 1,000 self-propelled nuclear satellites disappeared into the vast starry sky. This is just the first batch, and there will be a second and third batch. Batch N. Satellites are constantly being manufactured and launched outwards. Zhou Quan must master the first intelligence information as much as possible. Microscopically controllable nuclear fusion devices are also being produced in batches, continuously providing energy to the base. As the scale of biological computing clusters becomes larger and larger, the computing power and energy consumption are rising linearly. When tens of millions of computing clusters are formed, 10 million energy will be consumed every hour. Before the birth of controllable nuclear fusion technology, it was simply unimaginable. As computing power becomes stronger and stronger, the research speed of space battleships becomes faster and faster. This project allocated almost 70% of the computing power. Along with the research on space battleships, there is also research on various weapon systems. This research accounts for 29% of the computing power. The remaining 1% of the computing power is used to maintain the various operations of the base. Time passed little by little, and the satellites of Deimos and Deimos had arrived and entered working status, sending back first-hand information. There is not much difference between Hydrocelos and Aquamas, and they are sandy planets. Because there is no protection from the atmosphere, the average temperature remains around -130 degrees. On the other hand, Aquaman actually has an atmosphere. Although it has only a very thin atmosphere, it also makes the temperature of the planet higher than that of Aqua and Enceladus. At the same time, the satellite also detected the presence of water on Demethos. With an atmosphere and water, there is the possibility of biological existence. But now Zhou Quan has no plans to take a look at Hydroid. The satellites are simply ordered to continue orbiting Metamorphosis and continue to monitor it. 2 days later, another satellite arrived at a closer planet and sent back corresponding video data. There are tens of billions of planets in the endless galaxy. Most of the planets are desolate, with nothing except various supplies and materials. These are resource stars and play a vital role in the development of mechanical technology. If mechanical technology is not supported by resources and materials, nothing can be done. In fact, the same is true for the Zerg. They also need resources, but they use them in a different way. A large amount of resources will be converted into energy in the hands of the Zerg. In Zhou Quan's eyes, he has a material energy converter. Controlled nuclear fusion technology was also developed to solve the problem of energy shortage. Energy can be converted into various substances. Resource stars that are valuable in the eyes of others become completely worthless in the eyes of Zhou Quan. Core, you said that if I didn't care about anything, I would hide in one place and develop peacefully for 10 years. Using the material energy converter, do you think I can raise the level of civilization to a very high level? The core was silent for a while, and after a few seconds he gave an answer that was not very certain. According to calculations, the probability of realizing the master's idea is approximately equal to 0. Close black lens bracket. ... Zhou Quan is confused. Why? Didn't you solve the problem of energy needs yourself? Isn't it possible to have everything with energy? Why not? Explain it in detail. Zhou Quan showed a state of study, with a desire for knowledge in his eyes. There are several key issues involved in the master's vision. The first is energy, the second is material, and finally the level of technology. Close black lens bracket. Energy has levels. If the energy level of nuclear fusion is not enough, it will be limited. Close black lens bracket. The material energy converter is the most advanced technological crystallization of the Zerg. It contains the most cutting-edge scientific research results of the Zerg, but it also has an upper limit. Close black lens bracket. There are many cutting-edge materials that cannot be directly converted into energy. Close black lens bracket. Energy and materials affect the final level of technology that can be achieved. Close black lens bracket. ... Zhou Quan listened to the core explanation. Only then did he realize that things were not as simple as he thought. The material energy converter is the highest technological crystallization of your Zerg race, so what level of civilization has the Zerg race reached? The core was silent again, and the computing power was suddenly full. It was obviously calculating. After countless calculations, a full minute later, the core answered again. Because the core data is missing, it cannot accurately answer the master's question. Close black lens bracket. According to calculations, the Zerg should be at the pinnacle of the third-level civilization at that time. Close black lens bracket. Whether the boundary between level 3 civilization and level 4 civilization has been broken through. Because of data loss, it is impossible to get an accurate answer. Close black lens bracket. Check the technology tree structure provided by mechanical technology and speculate on the level of civilization of mechanical technology. The computing power is once again full. It's like a game. An unknown advanced civilization brought them to this endless galaxy and gave them a base. The base belongs to the category of mechanical technological civilization. No one knows what the end of mechanical technological civilization will be. With the support of huge computing power, Zhou Quan only allowed the core to make a further guess. This calculation took 10 minutes. After countless billions of calculations and speculations, the core finally had a vague answer. According to speculation and calculations, when the civilization of mechanical technology reaches its limit, it should be between the third-level civilization and the fourth-level civilization. Close black lens bracket. Insufficient information. The estimated calculations are not completely accurate and are for reference only. Close black lens bracket. The results obtained by the two speculation calculations are similar. Mechanical technology and Zerg biotechnology are both between the 3rd-level civilization and the 4th-level civilization. Zhou Quan had a bold guess. Level 4 civilization seems to be a threshold, and it is not easy to cross it. With the strength of the Zerg race, couldn't they overcome it? It's a bit weird, but for him now, talking about this is too far away. He has just entered the 2nd-level civilization and has not even touched the threshold of the 3rd-level civilization. It took people on Earth thousands of years to barely reach the threshold of 1st-level civilization. There is still a long way to go before there is a secondary civilization that can travel freely within the star system. Where have you been? Civilization improvement is a long process. There's no rush at all. Instead of worrying about this, it is better to think about whether you can upgrade your civilization to level 3 in your lifetime. You said, what if I die of old age or die of illness? The master does not need to worry about this problem. Close black lens bracket. After you became the Zerg master, your genes have changed to a certain extent, and your lifespan has become very long. Close black lens bracket. And as your level and strength increase, your life level will change and your lifespan will become longer. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You will find that time means nothing to you. Close black lens bracket. Getting sick is even more impossible. Except for some special substances in the universe that can cause you to be poisoned, there is no such thing as getting sick among the Zerg. Close black lens bracket. ... Zhou Quan laughed dumbly. His thoughts were really unnecessary. Time moves forward unconsciously, and 10 days pass in the blink of an eye. A multi-million level biological computing cluster has finally been built. In the past 10 days, in addition to the construction of biological computing clusters, 10 batches of nuclear-powered self-launching satellites have been launched, and a total of 10,000 satellites are flying in the starry sky. 10,000 satellites will cover the nearest 1,000 planets. The farthest planet is 30 billion kilometers away and requires a full 700 days of flight. Zhou Quan temporarily stopped satellite launches, and that was enough for the time being. It can be observed from the neural network that a large number of satellites are moving away. Suddenly, a satellite disappears from the neural network. 10,000 satellites are numbered and divided into 10 routes. What disappeared was satellite number 986 en route 9. Then a few minutes later, another satellite disappeared. The same as satellite number 985 en route 9. Then the 3rd and 4th satellite. Both are route 9. What happened? The core is already fast and Zhou Quan starts checking. According to the trajectory of the satellite's disappearance, when the 5th satellite disappeared, satellite number 981 en route 9 stopped and started work on the spot. All detectors on the satellite are turned on, monitoring all directions. A few minutes later, satellite 981 disappeared from the neural network and was completely destroyed. But again, the data has been passed back. It's the stellar wind. The stellar wind swept past, and the stream of high-energy charged particles destroyed the mechanical and electronic parts of the satellite. Biological structures were also impacted by the stellar wind and suffered considerable damage. After the two were added together, the satellite was destroyed silently. Then several more satellites were destroyed by constant winds, but corresponding data was also obtained. Stellar winds are streams of high-energy charged particles erupted by stars. The speed is approximately between 350 and 600 kilometers per second. The speed of this stellar wind is 550 kilometers per second, which is 1/10 faster than the speed on the satellite. There is no escape. Moreover, the forward path of this wave of stellar wind has a high degree of overlap with Route 9. It is estimated that more than 70% of the 1,000 satellites on Route 9 will be lost. At the same time, some satellites on routes 8 and 7 will also be affected, and some of them are expected to be lost. Just figure it out. Separate some computing power to study how to deal with this problem. There is protection from the atmosphere on the planet, but not in the stars in the universe. Stellar winds erupt irregularly and over a large range. This time it only affects satellites. If it affects warships in the future, it will be a big trouble. The core immediately allocated 20% of its computing power and devoted it to research on resisting stellar winds. The stupidest way to resist stellar winds is to improve the power system. As long as you fly faster than the stellar wind, you won't be affected. But this is the stupidest way. The best way is to develop materials that can withstand stellar winds. Use this material to make a shell to protect the internal structure. The Zerg's biotechnology can also do part of this, but it cannot completely withstand the stellar wind and can only repair it at the biological level afterwards. There is definitely corresponding material technology in mechanical technology, but it needs to be studied. A wave of stellar wind caused the loss of more than 900 satellites in total. The arsenal quickly reproduced satellites and quickly launched them into space. At the same time, satellites stopped on each route, deployed on the spot, and moved toward the nearest star for detection and monitoring. It was precisely because of this wave of stellar winds that Zhou Quan turned his attention to stars. Huge stars radiate hot light. Stars are huge nuclear reactors, carrying out nuclear fusion all the time. This kind of nuclear fusion has been going on for who knows how many billions of years, releasing endless energy. While releasing energy, it will also lose its temper from time to time and burst out some extremely dangerous things. Stellar winds are among them. The high-energy charged particle flow in the stellar wind can be said to be a big killer of electronic systems, and it can also cause considerable harm to living things. According to measurements, the star is 10 billion kilometers away from aquamarine and has a diameter of 130 million kilometers. Close black lens bracket. The core quickly gives out star data. Zhou Quan thought hard about the data of the Sun in the solar system. This star is 10 times larger than the Sun, and the energy intensity it releases far exceeds that of the Sun. The stellar wind that explodes is also faster and more powerful. Monitor the stars and incorporate the data into the database. Since this galaxy is called the Endless Galaxy, then this star should be called the Endless Star 1. Observe the major stars in the galaxy at the same time, make comparisons, and incorporate the data into the database. There are many stars in the entire endless galaxy, and stars are far apart. Star number 1 is just one of them. There are many stars larger than Endless 1. The core is very busy. It controls scientific research while controlling major bases and balancing computing power. This is what it has to do. On the contrary, Zhou Quan has been very empty recently. In addition to eating, drinking and sleeping, I also inspected the base, checked the progress of various researches, and enjoyed the beautiful scenery of space. Although space is lonely, it is not completely silent. You can often see gorgeous scenery, such as comets and the like. In addition, the satellites gradually arrived at their destinations, and the conditions of each planet were transmitted back. Through neural networks, Zhou Quan can view these images directly like watching a video. Various strange planetary scenery are presented one by one in the picture. Some planets are shrouded in flames all year round. Some planets are like ice cubes. There is also a planet where day and night are eternally locked. There are even planets whose orbits are extremely chaotic because their mass is too low and they are affected by the gravitational pull of nearby planets. But so far, Zhou Quan has not found any other planet with a base like him. Not even a planet with life has been discovered. 10 days later, the scientific research finally yielded results. The first result comes from the material aspect. Through quantitative auxiliary irradiation of steel, the strength of steel can be greatly increased. All indicators of steel can exceed the original data several times. In addition, it can also form a new protective layer on the surface of the steel. Although this protective layer is only 0.1 mm thick, it can withstand more than 90% of the high-energy particle flow. Space equipment made of this steel will no longer be afraid of high-energy particle streams. This breakthrough was like a volcanic eruption, which immediately led to breakthroughs in other materials. In just a few days, the properties of other materials were tested. Different materials use different amounts of radiation and radiation time, which can greatly enhance the material properties and form a protective layer on the material. A breakthrough was made in materials, and batch replacement began immediately. The first is that all the materials on the base have been updated and turned into this brand new material. All equipment produced in the future will use new materials. As for the satellites that have been launched now, there is nothing we can do. 1,000 satellites are launched into the sky every day and are continuously launched outward. Although not much can be gained by doing this, at least it can help us understand the situation in the outside world. In Zhou Quan's eyes, this phenomenon is like playing the detection map in the game. Once the map is understood, the game becomes easier. Although we encountered stellar wind this time, it also promoted the progress of materials. The breakthrough in materials makes Zhou Quan very happy. Scientific research is like this. It may take several years or decades without any breakthrough. Once there is a breakthrough, it may cause a chain reaction. Sure enough, just as Zhou Quan thought, on the 5th day after the breakthrough in materials, research on weapons and warships made progress at the same time. The first space battleship has been developed. But now Zhou Quan faces a brand new problem. Space battleships are much larger than ordinary soldiers, and cannot be produced and constructed in just arsenals. A massive battleship factory needed to be built. However, the battleship factory's technology requires completely new research, which requires a lot of time. Fortunately, the core provides a simple solution after calculation. By transforming the existing arsenal, hundreds of arsenals can be transformed into a warship factory. The main components of the battleship are still hatched from the Zerg. The role of the battleship factory is not much different from that of the previous arsenal, but it is limited in terms of size. According to the core's suggestions, the transformation of a large number of arsenals began in a drastic way. It took a full 12 hours to transform a huge warship factory on Aquamarine. Build a Yellow-class space battleship. Start building the Yellow-class space battleship, consuming 100,000 larvae and 10 million energy, which takes 1 hour. Close black lens bracket. After waiting patiently, the first, Yellow-class space battleship flew out. Zhou Quan classified the warships into different levels based on the words, the sky and the earth are dark and yellow, and the universe is primitive. What is currently being developed is the most basic space battleship, the Yellow-class space battleship. In his vision, there will be Zon level, Earth level, and Heaven level in the future. Above that there is the 4th level of the universe. The base is defined by him as the most powerful Huang-class space battleship, but the base will basically not participate in the war. After all, it is your own car, safety first. The Yellow-class space battleship is 100 meters long, has no wings, and has a streamlined design imitating water droplets. Equipped with nuclear power drive, the maximum speed is 800 kilometers per second. It is equipped with 10 bioenergy main guns and 50 bioenergy secondary guns. The attack power of the energy main gun has reached level 20, reaching the standard of a second-level civilization. The attack power of the bioenergy secondary battery has also reached level 15. It also carries 10 conventional class hydrogen bombs and 1 destructive class hydrogen bomb. The shell is covered with new materials that can completely withstand stellar winds. The biological part accounts for 70% of the entire battleship and has damage repair functions. Equipped with 100 sets of microscopic controllable nuclear fusion devices to provide energy for the battleship weapon system. Groups of data dazzled Zhou Quan. After the Yellow-class battleship appeared, various tests were immediately carried out. The test was conducted on Aquamarine. According to the data obtained, this Huang-class battleship has reached the level of a second-level civilization. The combat power is comparable to that of the Green Tiger on Aqua Blue Star. If the two sides fight, the outcome is uncertain. Especially with the existence of destructive-level hydrogen bombs, even if they are defeated, they can drag second-level civilized creatures like Qinghu to death together. The weapon system on the Yellow-class battleship has also been applied on the base. Moreover, the base is larger in size, equipped with 100 main guns alone, and 2,000 secondary guns. Once fired, the base is like a hedgehog and can attack targets in any direction. This makes the base's combat power far superior to that of the Yellow-class battleship, making it one of the strongest even among the second-level civilizations. At the same time, the base also carries a large number of nuclear warheads, including 1,000 conventional-level warheads, 1,000 destructive-level warheads, and 100 Hell-level warheads. According to the calculation data given by the core, if 100 Hell-level hydrogen bombs exploded on Aquamarine, it would be enough to cause irreversible damage to Aquamarine. At the same time, it can also kill a large number of second-level civilized creatures. This kind of big killing weapon is also the capital of Zhou Quan's survival. The emergence of Huang-class battleships caused Zhou Quan to deviate from the originally planned upgrade routine. It did not completely rely on the level improvement of the Zerg base, nor did it advance along the path of mechanical technology. The two are organically combined, taking the essence and discarding the dross, and creating a unique technological upgrade route. The Scientific Research Institute continues to research higher-level space battleships and stronger weapon systems. Mass incubation bases, transformed arsenals, and built battleship factories. Mass production of microscopically controllable nuclear fusion devices to store energy. Prepare, blast troops. One command after another is issued through the neural network, and the core begins to execute the command. On Aquamarine, a large number of sub-bases appear. This time, it's not just as simple as 10 sub-bases. After core calculations, a more reasonable number was obtained. 1,000 sub-bases. Use 25 sub-bases as a group to build a Yellow-class battleship factory. Among the 25 sub-bases, one of them produces microscopic controllable nuclear fusion devices to provide energy. The other 24 sub-bases provide sufficient larvae for Huang-class battleships for manufacturing Huang-class battleships. The 4-level sub-base can produce 100,000 larvae every 24 hours. The 24 sub-bases supply larvae in turn, which can just meet the 24-hour cycle. A group of 25 construction units can produce one Yellow-class battleship every hour. There are 1,000 sub-bases and 40 construction units, which can produce 40 Yellow-class warships per hour. This kind of production capacity is far beyond what mechanical technology that has just reached the second level of civilization can achieve. Even for Zerg, this can only be achieved after reaching level 21. But now, the base number is only level 10. But its combat power has already entered the ranks of the second-level civilization. This is beyond the reach of the original upgrade route and is simply a miracle. One day later, all 1,000 sub-bases were set up, and the level 40 construction and production units were successfully put into production under the orderly control of the core. Yellow-class battleships are produced like dumplings. The first 10 bases built on Aqua are also not idle. Their daily task is to manufacture satellites and then send satellites to various parts of the galaxy. After the breakthrough in the research on the Huang-class battleship, the research on the nuclear power system also made a breakthrough at the same time. The speed of Huang-class battleships reaches a maximum of 800 km per second, and the same is true for satellites. The advancement of science and technology has brought about all-round changes. 3 more days later, the number of Huang-class battleships had reached 3,000, suspended in the orbit of Aquamarine, protecting the base. The neural network is already filled with dense signal sources, which gives Zhou Quan a headache. As a last resort, Zhou Quan could only temporarily block a large number of signal sources. For example, Zhou Quan no longer pays attention to satellite signal sources. The signal source of the Huang-class battleship was also turned off. These are all handled by the core, otherwise the entire neural network cannot be viewed at all. The space battleship has begun to take shape. Now it's time to get some energy and upgrade the base. The base number is only level 10 and has just become a first-level civilization. Seems a little too weak. Moreover, Zhou Quan also hopes that the base number will be raised to level 21, and then a large number of level 20 combat soldiers will be produced. It's not about letting them fight, but using energy feedback to improve their own strength. Master, the satellite on planet number 381 lost contact. Close black lens bracket. After receiving the core information, Zhou Quan was slightly stunned and quickly found planet number 381 in the neural network. This is a planet that is half icebergs and frozen soil, and half lava and flames. Planet number 381 is about 1.7 billion kilometers away from Aquamarine, relatively close to Endless One. Tide locked, no rotation. Half of the planet is permanently illuminated by the light of the star, and the average temperature exceeds 300 degrees. The other half is forever plunged into darkness, with only the reflected light from other planets bringing some light to it, and the temperature is below -100 degrees all year round. The great contrast creates an extremely gorgeous scenery on this planet. Zhou Quan once paid attention to this planet. At that time, there was no abnormality on the planet, and no signs of life were found. Life should not exist on a planet with such an extremely harsh environment. But the universe is so vast that it contains many wonders, and many things are contrary to common sense. Have you found out why? It could be another stellar wind. According to the last picture transmitted back, it should be a life form between matter and energy. Close black lens bracket. There is also this magical life form, which is interesting and worth studying. Send 1,000 yellow class battleships to take a look and try to catch some. The Corps quickly calculated the route, the nuclear power system started roaring, and the 1,000 Huang class warships began to accelerate. It accelerated from a standstill to a terrifying speed of 100 kilometers per second in just 1 minute. It reached the ultimate speed of 800 kilometers per second directly after 5 minutes. It will reach star 381, which is 1.7 billion kilometers away, in about 3 days. 3 days later, planet 381. Zhou Quan followed the fleet forward with his eyes. This is the first time the Yellow class fleet has been dispatched, and it still needs to be verified ahead of actual combat. Under the control of the Corps, the fleet descended on planet 381 in a mighty manner. All detectors are turned on. The detector uploaded back densely packed signal points, and this magical life form was spread all over the planet. Facing the extraterrestrial visitors, the life forms did not show any courtesy and pounced directly on them. Through satellites, it has been analyzed that the combat effectiveness of this life form should be between the first-level civilization and the second-level civilization. The combat power of the Yellow-class battleship has reached the threshold of the second-level civilization. Fire. The gunfire from the Huang-class battleships rained down. Bioenergy cannons are powered by microscopic controllable nuclear fusion devices. There are no physical cannonballs, but pure energy cannonballs are more lethal than physical cannonballs. It's just that the impact isn't as strong as a physical bullet. Each has advantages and disadvantages. Amidst the roar, the living body was hit by the energy cannon and vaporized in the high-intensity energy. Very weak. Zhou Quan thought for a while, this kind of half-substance and half-energy life was really weak in terms of strength. But being able to survive in such a harsh environment does have its unique features. Master, through calculation based on the remaining data in the database. Close black lens bracket. Studying this kind of life form may help us to climb to the third level of civilization. Close black lens bracket. There are gaps in the Zerg database, and the specific data on how to evolve from a second-level civilization to a third-level civilization has been lost. Only simple analysis can be done through the residual data. Zhou Quan originally wanted to capture these life forms for research, but now it seems that it is even more necessary to capture them. Try to catch some. As ordered, the arrest will begin. Close black lens bracket. Several of the warships revealed huge openings, and strong suction force was generated from the openings, sucking 7 life forms in instantly. The internal space of the battleship changes. Biotechnology has a unique advantage in this regard, and the internal space can change freely. Several independent cells were formed to lock the living bodies inside. The life form made an infrasonic cry, but it had no effect on the battleship. Then the 7 life forms that were captured began to merge with each other to form a more powerful life form. Life forms that had not yet reached the second level of civilization have now reached the level of a second-level civilization. The energy fluctuations on the body are very obvious, and they are fluctuations of nuclear energy. Boom. The life form self-destructs. Like a small nuclear bomb going off. A Huang-class battleship was instantly blown to pieces, and dozens of nearby Huang-class battleships were also affected. Fortunately, the battleship is mainly biotechnology, and it can automatically repair itself as long as it is not blown up. Moreover, there is a nuclear fusion device, so the energy required for repair is not a problem. The formation changed, and the damaged battleship immediately retreated to the rear of the team. Zhou Quan obviously didn't realize that such a thing would happen. This kind of life form can actually fuse and then self-destruct. Although the power of self-destruction is smaller than that of a conventional hydrogen bomb, it is still a nuclear bomb, and it is more than enough to destroy a Huang-class battleship. The capture failed, and began to try to attack with small energy, kill the opponent, and capture the body. Close black lens bracket. The Corps quickly changed its mind and turned to attack with secondary artillery. The secondary gun has enough power to kill living creatures, but it does not directly vaporize the opponent like the main gun. The fleet dispersed, waiting for the life forms to approach before killing them with secondary guns, and then suck the bodies away. This plan was very successful. Under the strong control of the core, each warship was extremely flexible and completed its mission very accurately. In just a few minutes, the fleet successfully captured the corpses of hundreds of life forms. The life forms seemed to realize this, and they actually began to fuse directly. The 10 life forms merged together, becoming larger and larger, their vitality became more powerful, and their speed also increased. After the fusion, all attributes become stronger, reaching the level of a second-level civilization. They carried the bombardment of the secondary guns, rushed to a place 1,000 meters away from the battleship, and exploded loudly. 1,000 meters away, it exploded like a nuclear bomb. Generally, Huang-class battleships bore the brunt and were blown up again. Moreover, several warships that were closer were also damaged. At this time, more fused life forms rushed over, their bodies constantly emitting strong radiation, preparing to explode themselves. Obviously, self-destruction is their strongest attack method. Facing such a lifeless creature, Zhou Quan also felt speechless. I am really afraid of being violent, and I am afraid of death if I am violent. These life forms obviously belong to the latter, being lifeless beings. And these life forms obviously have their own way of communication, and information spreads very quickly. There are more life forms flying in from afar, and they have begun to merge on the way. When 100 life forms are fused together, the life form is more powerful than a Huang-class battleship. The secondary battery attacks had no effect on them, and even the main guns were only damaging them. Their bodies are up to a kilometer in diameter, like a huge cloud that is constantly changing into shapes. When the main gun hit them, it was like a mud cow falling into the sea, without any ripples. A group of hundreds of fused life forms rushed over, preparing to self-destruct. The battleships quickly retreated, most of the battleships took off, and only a dozen battleships were left to delay. Start preparing for hydrogen bomb attack. Close black lens bracket. If the life energy cannon is ineffective, then only the hydrogen bomb is left. A destructive nuclear bomb flew out, and then the battleship turned on its full power, instantly accelerating to 100 kilometers per second and flying into the distance. 100 kilometers per second, this is the fastest speed that can be achieved under the interference of the planet's gravity. The moment the battleship left, the destructive hydrogen bomb detonated. A huge mushroom cloud rose. A devastating blow was caused within a radius of 100 kilometers. Tens of thousands of life forms were vaporized by high temperatures exceeding 100 million degrees in an instant. Even 100 fused life forms cannot withstand the blow of a destructive hydrogen bomb. Zhou Quan knew that the life forms on the planet were already on guard against him, and it would be difficult to capture new corpses without a better way. The final reaction of the life forms has told their enemies that they will self-destruct, and they will do so decisively. Fortunately, hundreds of bodies had been captured previously. It's also good enough for research. Come back first and bring the body back. The fleet began to return. Of the 1,000 warships, 12 were destroyed and more than 300 were damaged. The loss is not very big and is within the acceptable range. And this battle also collected a lot about the number of battleships. It is a good attempt to obtain a large amount of data at a small cost. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.